We're halfway through 2026, and I'm seeing something within the hiring world that I didn't expect to happen this fast or this decisively. Here's the thing. The first 6 months told a story. Most hiring leaders thought they saw a market correction. Things were starting to stabilize. Companies felt that they could be more selective with their candidates, kind of getting back to how hiring used to work. And they were focused on solving just for the day-to-day problems and then deferring recruitment to when it's absolutely necessary. But underneath all of that, something completely different was actually happening. Now, I took a look back and really dug into the data, analyzing the numbers to see what actually happened in the first half of 2026. And I found 4 major patterns, 4 distinct shifts that explain why everything changed in the hiring space. And I've gone ahead and I've broken them down for you in this video. But before I get into what I found, let me introduce myself because you need to know where this is coming from. So if you're new here, I just want to say welcome. My name is Jared Black. I'm the founder of Nuvine Employment Group. And over the last decade, I have successfully placed more than 10,000 candidates and partnered with more than 300 businesses. So when I tell you what's happening in the hiring market right now, this is not theory. It's based on real data, real patterns, and real experience watching how companies are actually hiring. And here on this channel, I share actionable recruiting strategies that help business leaders just like you attract and hire top talent without the guesswork, without the costly mistakes, and with the years of trial and error. So if you're ready to get started, let's dive into what I actually found when I analyzed the first half of 2026. Now, the first pattern, it hit me immediately. It's something that I just didn't expect to see at this level of scale, and that is deepfake and fraudulent candidates that are actually being hired. This is not just a concern, this is not just a warning, this is real. This is an immediate threat that is already happening. And the number of occurrences over the last 2 years shot straight up. Yes, that's right. Fake candidates were actually being hired by some companies. And I don't mean just 1 or 2, I mean hundreds of occurrences. In fact, 41% of large enterprises have reported hiring a completely fake candidate in the first half of this year. Those are AI-generated candidates and deep fake personas. In fact, the FBI actually documented this, stating North Korean hackers used fake identities to infiltrate over 130 US companies. Think about that for a second. Your next hire could be a completely fake person. So, knowing that, does your recruiting process have a way to catch it? Most companies don't. You see, most companies today are starting to opt towards a fully automated recruitment playbook, and the fraudsters are betting that you will depend way too much on this technology. And that's the gap. But here's the crazy part, and this actually leads me to the second pattern that I found, which is 92% of companies said that they were going to implement AI into their hiring process this year. 92%. But do you know how many actually executed on that? Only 39%. And of those 39%, only 8% say that AI is actually working for them. So what happened is this. While most companies were talking about AI transformation, the ones who actually quietly built the right systems started pulling ahead. Meaning in the first half of 2026, the action takers are winning. Everyone else is still scrambling. Now, if you're following along, you might be thinking, okay, Jared, so companies are behind on fraud prevention and AI execution is harder than expected. So what? Yes, that is a problem. You're right, but that's not the main story because something much bigger actually shifted in the first half of 2026. And this is where it gets very interesting to me. In the first 6 months, hires actually dropped, job openings contracted, and here's what companies didn't do. They didn't rush to replace or hire new talent. You see, they didn't announce any hiring freezes per se. Instead, they just got very, very selective. You see, volume hiring died in 2026 and precision hiring took over. Fewer roles, higher standards, and more money per seat. This is a permanent reset on how companies think about hiring. This is not just a market bounce. And most companies just haven't adapted to the new standards yet. But there is a fourth pattern, and to me, it's the most concerning, which is entry-level jobs are collapsing. Software developer roles for people under 25 are down 20% since 2024. And 43% of recent college grads are now underemployed. AI isn't just changing how companies hire, it's changing who they hire. And the junior level roles are disappearing faster than the market can absorb the people who are trained to fill them. And the problem is, most hiring leaders just aren't talking about this because it doesn't directly affect their immediate hiring needs right now, but it will. because the market always catches up. So here's what I want you to understand. These 4 patterns aren't separate problems. They're all pointing to the same thing. The rules for hiring have fundamentally shifted. And the companies that understand this are already moving ahead. And the ones that don't, they're gonna watch the problems accelerate throughout the second half of 2026. So here's what I'm predicting is actually coming next in the second half of 2026. And I'm very confident in these predictions based on what I'm seeing today in the market. First, in-person interviews are making a full comeback. See, what started as a simple fraud prevention measure is now becoming standard practice again. Yes, what was old is now new again. In fact, Google has already brought back mandatory in-person rounds, and McKinsey recently followed suit. And as of today, 72% of recruiting leaders now require in-person verification. So by the end of this year, this will be the norm. This will be 100%. So at the halfway mark, companies that kept human in the loop will have cleaner pipelines, and the ones who went all in on automation will have to walk back some of those changes. But the second prediction is even bigger. Now, my prediction is that the first wave of AI hiring lawsuits is coming. You see, companies move fast on AI screening right out of the gate. Most didn't test for biases, many didn't document their decisions, and very, very few built out compliance frameworks. So here's what's looming. The European Union AI Act becomes enforceable in August of this year. That's when the real scrutiny will start. Shortly after, the US will follow with their own regulations, and the chain reaction that follows is going to be significant. Companies that can't prove that their AI hiring decisions are unbiased and documented will face legal reckoning. And I'll tell you, it's coming faster than most companies realize. And for my third prediction, and this one has real emotion behind it because this is something that most companies just completely underestimated till now. Employer branding will become your most important recruiting asset. Think about this. In a precision market, A players always have options. They always do. What's changing is how they choose. Sure, perks, compensation, location, that all matters. But the companies winning right now, the ones who are actually winning top talent, are the ones with a company story or a narrative that's worth joining. And if your candidate cannot find a compelling reason to work for you in the 5 to 10 minutes of research, then you've already lost. Your culture, your mission, your growth story, these will now become your recruiting tools. And this is going to accelerate because top talent knows their position and they know they have power in this type of market. And the fourth prediction, the one that's going to surprise you the most, is this. The counter offer war is about to explode. You see, in a low hire, low fire market, companies are fighting harder than ever to keep their good people. Counter offers are getting more creative, more expensive, and way harder to walk away from. You see, the moment the best candidate in your pipeline receives your offer and then gives their notice, their current employer is going to fight for them in ways they never did before. This is happening right now, and I'm seeing it in real time in the market. And this is going to continue to intensify because companies are finally waking up to realizing how expensive it is to replace top talent. Unfortunately, though, most hiring leaders are just not aware of this or prepared for it. But I'll tell you, if you put all of your eggs into that one candidate weeks into the hiring process, and then they come back and tell you that they've decided to stay with their current employer, is going to put you in such a serious disadvantage. I actually talk about this at length on how to spot this earlier in the process, which you can find that video right here. It's titled Why Hiring Feels Impossible. Go watch that video right after this one to learn more on that topic. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to pick one of the 4 things: in-person interviews, AI lawsuits, employer branding, counter offers, and I want you to ask yourself honestly, is my company actually ready for this? Not in theory, I mean in reality. If the answer is no, that's your next move. Because here's what you need to realize. The patterns that emerged in the first half of 2026 will continue to accelerate throughout the second half. And the companies that got ahead are going to continue pulling further ahead, and the ones that didn't are falling further behind. So you have to make the decision. Are you willing to make the changes now to be in a better position for the end of 2026? Or do you keep falling further behind? Now, if you feel that you're falling behind in all of these areas, I've actually created a framework that walks you through exactly how to prepare for each one of these 4 shifts: what to do, when to do it, how to measure if you're actually making progress, and I'm sending it to everyone who subscribes to my newsletter, The Hierarchy. The framework is titled The Hiring Readiness Checklist, and it's completely free. You just need to subscribe in order to receive it. And you can subscribe by just going to thehierarchy.com or just by clicking the link below. Because here's the thing. The fundamentals haven't changed. Find great people, build real relationships, and run a consistent, repeatable process. That's it. What's changed is the environment, and adapting to the environment is the job. So if you want to stay ahead of what's actually happening in the hiring space, Join thousands of founders and operators who are reading The Hierarchy every Tuesday. We break down the real stories that nobody else is talking about, and it's completely free. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you understand what's actually happening in hiring, hit like and subscribe. It really means a lot to us. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.